We are everyone's most famous second club, at least if you are not on the right side of political scenes, then it might be a very different opinion on us.
FC St Pauli are a club I've been aware of for a couple of years now, and after spontaneous late nights staying up, researching and following the German second-tier club, they began to really fascinate me. What kind of football fans have ever proudly and openly supported LGBT rights in their stadium, pushed boundaries to fight racism, and even attended heavy metal rock concerts as part of their pre-season tours? I quickly came to realise this club was a bit different from the rest. I just had to delve into the St Pauli world, get to Hamburg and see this for myself. So I did. After the small matter of a taxi, 2 trains, a shuttle bus, a 1.5 hour plane journey, another train, a tube, and a well-deserved rest. The main factor that makes St Pauli so different from other clubs is the attitude of their fans. So I thought, firstly, what better to do than get a real insight into the club with a true superfan and learn more about the St Pauli way before I attended my first game. I met up with successful St Pauli podcast host Mike Krukmeyer at the Supporters Fan Laden, located at the home of FC St Pauli, the Millantor Stadium, to talk about how and why he fell in love with the club.
But in the end, I was on an away game in Bochum on a Friday evening. St Pauli was playing in the second division, and they just got a 2-2. But it looks like they could go up to first division with that result. And after the game, everyone in the whole stand, there were, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 St Pauli fans in the away end, and they were even 45 minutes after the game still celebrating together with the team on the pitch. And this was something really unique. I was not used to see scenes like this, especially not in that time. I think it's more happening today, especially after big victories. But at that time, this was really unique, and this started my fascination for the club. And then I got more and more involved, and I learned about the political views of the club and its fan scene, and that slightly changed my opinion on how to watch football and being part of a club as a supporter. And so I, in the end, switched from Werder Bremen fan to a St Pauli fan, which was possible with 16. Maybe it would have been more difficult 2 or 3 years later.
St Pauli fans are notorious for their liberal and open-minded views, and their movements in the past have had a big impact on the way German football is conducted. The fan scene at the club are continuously working on charitable social projects to help the less fortunate, and Mike explained how this selflessness often rubs off on the players at the club.
We do have some players who might not get here because of the club being so special, but they realize during being here that this club is so special and that you have the chance to develop yourself, to get involved in social projects. So especially our reserve keeper until the summer, Philipp Herwagen, he was, I don't know, something around 30, 31 when he came here. And in the end he said, he was also a guest in our podcast, and he said, well, I just love playing here because I can be a professional footballer, but in addition I have the possibility to support local social projects. He is involved in the Viva Con Agua project, which tries to get drinking water in all countries of Africa, and he visited, I think it was Ethiopia, but I might be wrong. So he understands that there is a chance to change the world a little bit by just being a player for St Pauli, because you have so many possibilities here to get involved and to get active. And from that point of view, it's really more than a club.
Another thing St Pauli are famous for is their deafeningly loud atmosphere at their home games at the Millantor Stadium. Speaking to Mike made me extremely excited to attend my first St Pauli game, and the next day it was time to see what the fuss was all about. However, Upon our arrival at the stadium, we were made aware of a protest that in typical St Pauli fashion would see the fans demonstrate against the German FA. This time, the topic of debate was the movement of kick-off times to suit TV broadcasters. The protest would involve both St Pauli fans and the away supporters of Dynamo Dresden, who both agreed to spoil the atmosphere and watch the first half of the game without chanting. So the game started, and as expected, it's very quiet in the stadium. You can probably tell that by the fact you can hear me. The protest is well underway. It's a strange atmosphere. You can hear the players, you can hear the managers shout at the players. I'm not sure how the fans are going to react if there's a goal. I'll just have to wait and see. So we're 20 minutes into the game, and you can tell the lack of atmosphere from the stands is really having an effect on what's happening on the pitch. There's really not much to report so far. So it's the half-time whistle's gone, it's 0-0, not much to report on the pitch, but as you can hear, the fans have already started singing, so I look forward to a big second half. And then, like a switch had been flicked, the whole place erupted. So the second half is well underway now. Didn't have to wait long for a goal. 1-0 St Pauli, and the place has gone mental, as you'd expect. It's crazy how much of an impact the fans can have on the team. It's like the game's just started at the halfway point. So Dresden have just pulled level, it's 1-1 now, about 5 minutes to go, we're in for a big finale. The game finished 1 each and was followed by some unsavoury scenes when a sexist banner targeting female supporters of St Pauli was revealed by the Dynamo Dresden fans. This resulted in violent clashes in the stands between the fans of St Pauli and Dynamo Dresden and led to the involvement of the German riot police. St Pauli's official Twitter account replied to the incident later that evening, once again showing their open and honest political stance, something most football clubs are afraid to do. Despite their loving and welcoming approach, St Pauli are fairly accustomed to rivalry and confrontation. Their unapologetic political attitude often aggravates fans with opposing views, and as seen, can lead to hostility. The club with arguably the strongest hatred towards St Pauli is their local neighbours, Hamburger SV, or Hamburg as they're better known. 4 miles is all that separates the two clubs, but their history and ideologies could not be more dissimilar. Hamburg are nicknamed the dinosaurs of German football, as in 1887 they became one of the first clubs formed in the country. In addition to this, they boast a rich history, becoming one of Europe's footballing giants in the 1980s, topping this off by winning the European Cup in 1982. Many great players wore the famous blue shirt, and their state-of-the-art Volksparkstadion showcases the sheer stature of the club. Until last season, Hamburg remained the only club to have played in every single Bundesliga season since its formation in 1963. However, last year saw Hamburg relegate to the second tier of German football and join their bitter rival St Pauli. This would present two rare fixtures between the clubs. I spoke to St Pauli fan and volunteer at the Club Fan Laden, Kolja Glathor, to get the lowdown on why these two clubs don't get along.
If you look the derbies in Germany, you have some inner city derbies like Bayern in 1816, Munich, and you have some cities-to-city rivalries like Schalke or Dortmund. I think the difference between St Pauli and the other club is it's a political thing. We are the smaller club, and they have won European Cup. They're the biggest club, but the fan scene's very difficult. We stand from anti-fascism. We are political, and we say it. The other club, many in the 80s, they have a big problem with right-wing fans or supporters. They have a hooligan problem, if you know, and that's a big difference. I think it's not more. It's not we are the little club in the city and the big club. It's I think it's more the attitude of the people.
The final thing I was dying to find out is what it's actually like to play for such a unique football club. So I caught up with German football presenter and St Pauli legend Ralf Ganeschk, a man who played over 200 games for the club during two separate spells between 2003 and 2012.
When I came to Hamburg, it was, I get very fast the feeling that it's something special to play for this club, to play in this stadium, and it was a very difficult situation. The club relegated from the first to the third league, so it was it was difficult. But as I said before, I recognized very fast that it's something special, and that you have also a big responsibility to the fans and to the city. I grew up very open-minded. My parents are totally. We didn't discuss these topics specifically, but they educated me to that it doesn't matter where you come from, which skin color, which religion, whatever. So for me, it was also a big honor to play for this club, because for me, being a professional football player, it's not only playing on Saturday, on Sunday, on Friday for 90 minutes. It's definitely more, because it's a very it's a situation with a lot of privileges, and so you have to give something back. And for me, it's important to do it as a professional football player, but you can't force someone to do it. He has to do it by his own. But if you want to stay for a longer time at St Pauli, if you want to have a good connection to the fans, you have to do it.
My whole experience with St Pauli left me feeling a real affinity to the club, and made me feel envious of the special connection their fans have with the team, something that seems totally alien in the English game. There is no doubt FC St Pauli are truly a club with a difference, and what happens off the field is just as important as what happens on it. But right now, on the field, things are on the up, with the team looking like they could be promoted to the renowned Bundesliga. And no doubt if they do go up, this special club will be ready to show its individuality once again on the biggest stage.